Welcome to my life and coasters, where in today's video it's my top 5 flat ride and my top 5 drop towers. So yeah, a 2-in-1. I'll start off with my top 5 drop towers, then I'll get straight into it. And my 5th favourite drop tower that I've ridden is the Drop Dead drop ride. So yeah, these are all around the different dungeons here in the UK. I believe not all the dungeons have them. Like, I don't think the Alton Towers dungeon has them. I don't think that the Warwick Castle dungeon has them, or the York dungeon, but I believe London dungeon, Edinburgh dungeon and the Blackpool Tower dungeon all have them. I've ridden these in 2 places, the Edinburgh dungeon and the Blackpool Tower dungeon. Both of them were really good. I really enjoy them. Very similar ride system to Nemesis of Terror, but yeah, it's like this drop tower, lifts you up off the ground. You drop down, it's got like a screen projector when you get to the top, and it's like you're being hung, is basically a theme. So quite a dark theme. Yeah, these do actually have a height restriction. I think it's 1.4 meters to ride these. And yeah, the site takes place in the dungeon's experience. So yeah, on to number 4 then, is a ride I only did for the first time about a few weeks ago. That is Cliffhanger. I've always been quite scared to do it. It is an SNS shot and drop tower. It was only running the shot setting. Basically, you sort of sit there for a minute on there, it shoots you up to the top, you bounce up and down for a minute before lowering back to the ground. Yeah, it's a really fun experience, quite good airtime at the very top, great views around Flamingo Land of all the caravans. Nice, actually, kind of nice theming for Flamingo Land. I mean, they don't have much, but looks like a lighthouse. It's got like a waterfall and a bit of rock work. Really do enjoy this one, and it's very similar to my 3rd place, which is Volcano at Fantasy Island. Now, Fantasy Island is an amusement park, quite a small one actually, or I always used to think. It's actually quite big when you get there, and they've got some big rides like the Odyssey, Millennium and obviously Volcano. Volcano is a SNS shot tower. It's not like Cliffhanger, it doesn't have the shot and drop setting. But yeah, I do slightly prefer this one because of the building at the bottom. This has got like a proper volcano, and you go through a bit of an indoor queue line. I think it's got some smoke and lighting effects from what I remember, and smell pods in there. Yeah, I really do like Volcano, and you shoot right up to the top, and if you're sitting on the right side, you get, or the best side to sit on, you get a full view right over Fantasy Island. So yeah, that is why Volcano is at number 3. On to number 2 then. We're at a UK theme park now, and that's Thorpe Park, with their only drop tower, I believe, Detonator. Actually, no, they have got High Striker. Detonator is a Fabry drop tower. I believe it's a travelling one, although it hasn't travelled ever. So yeah, it's all it's had a nice refurb. I only did it for the first time last week. Always been too scared to do this one as well. It's only 115 foot tall, so not very tall at all. It slowly lifts you to the very top. Traditional drop tower, then drops you down. I believe it used to shoot people downwards, which is I've never heard of that before. But yeah, from what I was reading, that's what it used to do. It's a really nice drop tower, very comfortable seats, and you get great views of Thorpe Park as well. So yeah, that's Detonator. Really, just a nice sustained amount of airtime as you're dropping down. And of course, that's what a drop tower is. It's not like these controlled ones, such as I'm just trying to think of an example, Croc Drop at Chessington. Yeah, and Croc Drop at Chessington is going to be the honourable mention of this video. I do really like the theming and everything. If we're going off of theming, this drop tower probably wins, or is very close to winning. But unfortunately, the tower isn't very tall and is quite forceless. Yeah, and that's Croc Drop as the honourable mention. So, on to 1st place then. You're probably wondering, where is it? Because I've sort of gone over the big UK drop towers. Well, it's actually a travelling ride, and that is Hangover the Tower, that comes to Winter Wonderland every year. So yeah, it kind of is, and it kind of isn't a UK drop tower. But I sort of count it as one, because when it comes to Winter Wonderland, yeah, it's in the UK. So yeah, this has a top height of 85 metres, which is about 275 feet from what I believe, 280 feet. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I believe it's between the 270 and 285 mark. So yeah, massively tall drop tower in the heart of London every Christmas. Hopefully it'll be back this year. It's quite an expensive one. I believe last year it was £7 or £8 a ride. When I did it in 2021, it was about £6 a ride. But yeah, really nice drop tower. It's quite modern. I think it's manufactured by Funtime. I think it's the world's tallest transportable drop tower, as I say, with that massive height. You lift slowly to the top. When you get to the top, you sort of slowly spin round. You get a bit of a view. The ride operator is really good with teasing people of when it's going to drop. Then you drop all the way from 85 metres, and it's incredible. That drop just feels like it goes on forever. Yeah, and that is Hangover the Tower at Hyde Park Winter Wonderland. So that is my top 5 drop towers. However, we're now going to go on to my top 5 flat rides. So before I actually got into theme parks, I was mainly into a lot of fun fairs for a few months. So I have done quite a lot of flat rides. I'm going to be including fun fair flat rides and like theme park flat rides. Because in my opinion, when it comes to flat rides, fun fairs do them better in a lot of cases. So yeah, starting off then, at 5th place is Southend Adventure Island, which is an amusement park, free to enter in Southend, is Time Machine. Yeah, in my opinion, this is definitely one of the most intense flat rides for like spinning and G-force I've ever done. It's a long sustained G-force as you spin around, normally be on your back, on your side, slightly upside down, all sorts. This is a really insane ride. It's currently closed for refurbishment from what I believe. I hope it will be back open soon. Really intense. It's just a lot of spinning. It's nicely presented most of the time, and I imagine after its refurbishment it's going to be even more nicely presented and a bit better themed, even though all stylised. Adventure Island, but yeah, I really do like Time Machine. If you're not good with spinning rides, I certainly wouldn't recommend it. Next is actually out of the UK. It's probably the only one on this list I think that's out of the UK, and I'm really not going to be very good at pronouncing this one. I believe it is De Groot Golf. Yeah, it's for Zamperla Disco at Plopsaland, Japan now. Zamperla Discos, we've got loads of them here in the UK. It's a mega disco, so which means it's got a hump in the middle. Yeah, the reason I like this one so much is because you get a much longer cycle on it. I'm not sure if this was just for my visit because it was so quiet, and it's very nicely themed in. So yeah, that's why this is my favourite type of this ride, and that's why it's made my top 5 flat rides. So this one's kind of a fun fair. It's a travelling ride. It is the Freak Out at Clarence Pier. So yeah, this actually, I rode it on its first day that it operated at Clarence Pier. I won't sort of call it its opening day because it's a travelling ride at a smaller amusement park. They do sort of move a lot of rides about. Not too sure what this one's called. It's a Freak Out. It was at Clarence Pier. It was the first time I rode a Freak Out in quite a long time, so I sort of got a bit scared of doing them. But yeah, I rode this. I really like it. Felt very sort of powerful. Swings really high, this one. I've always loved a Freak Out. It was really, I sort of call it my first bigger sort of ride. So yeah, that's a Freak Out Clarence Pier. Not really much I can say about this. You swim back and forward and you sort of spin slowly as well. It's a fun fair ride. Yeah, and on to another fun fair ride at a very small amusement park. Is in Scarborough for my second favourite flat ride. Yeah, this is actually a Crazy Frogs, believe it or not. I always have loved these rides because the amount of airtime you get, and this is one of the first like rides that's just gone out on for a really long time. I got about a 7-minute cycle on this one, I believe. Yeah, it was just this constant bouncing motion. Really started to make me feel quite dizzy towards the end of the cycle, but constant airtime. A really fun ride. Really love it. Yeah, it's nicely presented in a nice location at Luna Park, Scarborough. It was a busy bank holiday Saturday. And it was quite hot, but yeah, I really enjoyed that ride. So yeah, that is my second favourite ride. So an honourable mention then, before we get into my favourite, has to be the Miami at Clapton Pier. I've always enjoyed a lot of Miamis. This was the first one I ever did, I believe. And the only reason it's not made this list is, unfortunately, it is quite uncomfortable. All Miamis are. The restraints, they can never seem to get them right. I'm not sure. I'm yet to do a comfortable Miami. So on to my very favourite flat ride is a permanent one at a theme park. It's Rush at Thorpe Park. It is an S&S Screaming Swing, I believe it's called. It's the only one we have here in the UK. It's a very small one. Unfortunately, the cycles aren't very long anymore. It has had a bit of painting up, so it does look quite good. But yeah, I really enjoy this. There's no spinning involved. It's just back and forward. But all you've got is a tiny little lap bar, so you feel so free on it. Yeah, Rush is a brilliant ride at Thorpe Park, and I really do enjoy it actually. I'd like to see the UK get a bigger one of these, especially somewhere like Alton Towers. And yeah, that is it for this video. As I said, I went through my top 5 drop towers at the start, and then my top 5 flat rides. Yeah, with flat rides I do sort of find them quite hard to place because I've done so many, and it's not like coasters or something. Talking of coasters, in the next video will be my top 10 coasters. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.